Okay, so what we're working on today is we're going to be introducing Onshape. Onshape is going to replace our program that we were using before called Fusion 360. We're switching to this because from what I've heard from you guys is that it's a lot harder for you guys to be able to remote in and the random disconnects and everything like that. So I'm going to be shifting everything to it. So it's going to take me a little bit to get everything set up. But I'm going to walk through the demos for everything for Onshape right now. All right, so we're looking at this right here. What we're looking at is the layout for Onshape. Okay, what we can see is we can see over here we're going to be dealing with a lot more stuff. So anytime we want to create a design, we're going to go up to create and we're going to go document. But the first thing that I want you guys to do is, if you're watching this video, is we are going to go and create a folder for our class. It's going to be IED, or Introduction to Engineering Design. Okay, then you hit create. I already have this folder, it already exists. And so I'm looking at my drawings inside of there. Okay. Other things that you can look at is recently opened, so you guys can see which ones I've opened recently, created by me, shared with me, which I have not been shared with anybody. You can also see the public, which is some fun things that people have done on here. So they're just different things that people have created on here. And then you can see trash. There's a couple things in there from me. The other thing that I do want to show up is that it's going to ask you about units. Anytime you're needing to change the main units of your drawing or account, is I'm going to go to account and you go to preferences. Okay. And then you'll see in here units, inch, degree, pound, and then time format. Time format, the default one is 24 hour or 12 hours. I changed mine to 24. You guys can leave it as what you need. But for the most part, when we are dealing with drawings, it's going to be within the units of inch, degree, pound. Okay. So let's jump into our first part. So we're going to go up to the create button and we're going to go create a document. Okay. And I've already demoed in class the tall block. So the next thing I'm going to demo is the small triangle. Okay. And so when we're showing up in this user interface, we are seeing everything similar to what Fusion had. We have our part browser over on the side. That's going to show all the parts and pieces and components that we've made. We do not have a timeline down across the bottom. It's kind of the big major change in between those. But it's really simple down at the bottom. We have a menu here for our tab manager. It's going to adjust for how many tabs or the order of them. We can add a new element down here. You'll see on the left side we have a tape measure or show measurement details. And then we have display mask properties. We'll talk about that later on. And then we have some custom tables and configuration panels. We'll talk about configurations later on. The next major thing that we want to look at is our view cube. Our view cube, we can grab, we can move it around. Then we can actually adjust which way it's looking, how are we looking at it, how to switch from one side to the other side. So if you hover around that gray outside, it switches to the opposite face that's showing. Okay. You can also change the style of it over here. We'll talk about that later. Okay, because sometimes you'll want to do shaded or shaded without edges. For the most part, though, you want to leave it shaded with edges. You don't want to do the shaded with hidden edges. That's going to show any lines that pop in back behind. And I'll show you guys that once when we hit that point. But this first one, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with the small triangle. Okay. Our top bar up here is our ribbon. Okay. We can see for the most part, we deal left to right. Okay. Everything that we create needs to start from a sketch. Okay. Okay. Everything that we need to create starts from a sketch. And then we apply the depth or the thickness to it within these next ones. Okay. And you can see that there's some that are hidden underneath. Okay. And then we can edit our thickened part with these next shapes. And then there's patterns, mirrors, Boolean, which is going to be both and ors. so on and so forth, going down. Okay, some of the specialized stuff down here, the helix is going to be a little bit more specialized, projected curves, so on and so forth. These are going to be stuff that we really won't deal with initially, but there are going to be some use cases later on that we will find uses for them. Okay, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at that small triangle. Okay, that small triangle, it has a sizes are inch and an eighth, inch and an eighth, inch and an eighth for its depth, width, and height. And so we're going to work on creating that. Okay, you guys can see over here that we have our planes. You can right click on them and you can see that there's extra information on it. We could even right click and do a new sketch off that plane. Okay. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually focus on using my front plane. So we're going to go up to sketch. I'm going to select the front plane. You can see in the select menu, this menu is usually buried over here. I moved it to my other side because I utilize a lot of the stuff that's over in that area. And every once in a while I'd accidentally click on the check in order to finish it. So I'm just moving it out of the way. You can do that by grabbing on where the title's at, clicking and holding. Okay. So I'm going to select my front plane. And now you can see that it's created a sketch 1 around the outside of that front plane. Okay. I'm going to use my view cube to rotate towards it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sketch the rough size of my triangle. It's just rough. It's nothing permanent. All right, hi guys. We're back in our Onshape. We're going to be looking at creating our next part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go and select document, and then I'm going to hit enter and ready to go. I did that on purpose so I can show you guys how to edit the title. Just like most things within Google, how you edit the title is when you're working on the project, you can come on in here and hit untitled document, and we're going to put in cylinder. Okay. So this is what we're going to extrude. We're going to basically draw a circle on our top plane and then extrude it up the height. What the diameter of that is 1.125 or 1 1/8. And then the height of it is 1.3125, which is 1 3/8. Okay. So as always, we go to sketch first, and I'm going to select the top plane this time. So I'm going to rotate around to it. And I'm going to select my center point circle. Click it down, and I'm going to go up and select dimensions, select my outside edge of the circle, and that's doing a diameter for us, and we need 1.125. Okay, so we can see that that's a diameter. It's pointing all the way across our circle, not just necessarily to the center. Okay, we're going to hit our green check to finish that, and then we're going to go extrude. We're going to select our circle. We're going to angle us a little bit so we can see that. And then we're going to go to the depth over here. We're going to go 2.125. Hit enter. We see it extends it up. Enter again, and it places it down. I'm going to go and turn off my planes. And I'm double clicking my mouse, my middle mouse button to zoom in. You don't have to. You can scroll in and out with your scroll wheel. If you double click it really quickly, it'll zoom to the extents of everything on your drawing. Okay. You can also click and hold down and it'll pan left and right. If you right click and hold, you can rotate around objects too. Okay, I'm going to get re-situated back to where my normal is at. I'm going to go up to our document, the hamburger, and you go print. And we're going to print this, make sure it's in between our lines. I'm going to hit download image. And that's a part ready to go. Turn in. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, so our next one that we're going to work on is one of the two harder ones that have the curve cutouts in it. I'm going to show you guys one way to do it, and then I'll probably demo the other way to do it really quickly too, because there's a couple different ways that we can do this bridge piece. And the other piece that we'll look at is the half circle or half moon. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to create, document, and we're going to go bridge. We're going to go block, bridge. Okay. Either works. Okay. Now the first way that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out the profile profile view, which is the view that has the cylinder cutout for it. Let me pull out my pieces so I can show you. So I'm going to cut out with this view. So you can see the profile of the arch with it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to go sketch. I'm going to do it on the front view. Okay. So now I'm getting ready to draw on the front. I'm going to go to my view cube, set it to the front, and we're going to go to this rectangle and hit the drop down arrow next to it. And we're going to do a center point rectangle. Okay. Now what the rectangle does is it defines both the left and right sides with it automatically. And now I'm going to define the height and the width to it. The height is 1.5 inches. And the width is 2.75 inches. Okay. Now I can leave that there and I can extrude this, and then I can come back through and cut the half moon out of it. I could do that. Or I can draw my half moon in here. Okay. So I'm going to draw my half moon. You can see that it picks the midpoint on here. And I'm just going to define a size by clicking somewhere on it. I'm going to come through, add the dimension to it. Okay. And our radius, now this is trying to do diameter. Our radius is 1. So it means our diameter must be 2. Okay. Now that's currently sitting in the midpoint of this line, but we're going to go through and cut or trim away some of this profile stuff. Okay. Now you can see that our line disappeared down there, our dimension, which means that these lines right here need to be redefined. We can go and do that. Okay. By selecting that top line and placing it. There's our bridge, and now we just need to extrude it. Okay. Our depth for going extrusion is 1.5. You can see it widen. I'm going to turn off my planes. Zooming in. Print. Download image. And there's our downloaded image. Now I forgot to check to see, so you see that I did not set it right, and so it kind of clipped off the sides of it. Okay, so we're going to go back. We're going to go print. Now I'm going to change this from portrait to landscape, and now you can see that it fully engulfs my whole print, or my whole part. I'm going to hit download. Show you off that image right there. That looks pretty good. Okay, we're going to close that. Okay. Now I'm going to go through and remake this because, believe it or not, there's another way to make it. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go block, bridge, version 2. Okay, and now I'm still going to start off the same way with my rectangle. So I'm going to go sketch. I'm going to select my front view, orient myself towards that front view, still do my center point rectangle. Okay, set up my dimensions. 1.5, 2.75. And then I'm going to finish that right now. And I'm going to extrude that. Because what we're going to do is we're going to create our whole block and then cut away from it. Okay. So it's that idea more in ceramic where you get your clay block and you just start scratching away at it and reducing the clay that it has in order to reveal the shape that you want it to be. Okay. So we made our block. Okay. I'm actually going to go through and hide these now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch on this face in order to then cut back through. Okay, so I'm creating that sketch. Okay, I'm going to rotate back to that front. Now I'm going to do my center point circle. I'm going to define the size of it, which is 2. Now, instead of having to trim away, I can leave that there at the bottom. Okay. We're going to still go to extrude. And instead of going new, we're going to go to remove. We're still selecting the faces and regions. Okay. I'm going to change the blind to through all. And we should see that it's cutting back through. You can see the new face that's going to show up on the inside underneath. And we just finished that. Okay. So both of these ways work. You're going to go up to the hamburger, print, landscape, make sure it's in there. So I might need one click back, center it a little bit, download image. There we go. All right, I'm going to show you guys the last one that's the hard shape. It's that half moon shape. It's not really difficult when you understand how to do the bridge. It's kind of applying the bridge, but in the part that you don't cut away, you want to keep that. Okay, so we're going to go up to create, document, half moon. Okay. Now I'm going to go sketch. I'm going to select the front. I'm going to orient myself to the front. And I'm still going to do that center point circle. I'm going to define its radius as 2. Or sorry, its diameter by 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line. Now you can draw your line from quadrant to quadrant. Okay, either horizontal or vertical. Okay, we're going to hit escape to get off drawing line. And now you can trim this away. You can trim that away. Or you can leave it. And when you go to extrude, you just select that top or bottom, not both. And then we set our depth. We hit enter twice. And there's our half moon. We go up to the hamburger, print. Okay, now this you could go either portrait or landscape. You definitely do want to bring it in a little bit and make it a little bigger. And you want to make sure to download that image so you're ready to upload it. All right. All right, so hopefully that helps you out for Onshape and getting stuff ready. You guys will see the rest of the assignment in your in the Google Classroom, and we'll hopefully see you guys on Thursday progressing through this. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.